Do I have something to tell you? Because my cats are, well, they are cats. And Willow, little Willow Kitty, she caught a snake. Okay, I'm not a fan of snakes. I'm not real, well, I'm not a fan of snakes. So she brought it in. I immediately threw it in the garbage. I forgot to tell her she was a good girl. But I did give her some treats. But I think she's depressed. I don't know if cats can be depressed, but I think she's a depressed cat because I forgot to tell her she's a good girl. Um, but I did give her treats in secret. I don't know if that makes up for it or not. But, my cats, all of their psyches are very fragile. Or I assume they're very fragile. It seems like they might be rather fragile. So, anyway, Jesus is driving the spaceship today, and we are chasing after him, and he is picking us up, and then we are going to the most offensive church this side of the universe, and people need to remember that this is a highly offensive church. And if you're offended, that's the point. Um, but anyway, Jesus is driving our spaceship. Um, I know what's happening. So, Jesus is driving our spaceship, and we are going to Jesus Shit Talking Tour slash Wellness Clinic. Uh, yep, we are going there. So, off we go. Why does it do that? That is so stupid. That's like a stupid thing. But anyways, there's Jesus, there's us. Let's this is okay. Hold on. Okay. Now this is becoming too much. It's too much. Okay. So anyway, now we are dropping in on Jesus Shit Talking Tour slash Wellness Clinic. We are on the second leg of his tour, nearing the end of it, I think. I think we're almost to the end of it. Yeah, yeah, we are. There's only 16 chapters. Okay. And we are on chapter 14. Oh my God. So, if I do everything correctly, we should finish this tour today. So, let me introduce myself to you because I have not earlier. Anyway, oh, maybe I did. I don't remember, but I think you might not know who I am. And just in case you don't, I am the Saint of Awesome, your Superstone Sage, Saint Nikki K. the Great. Ha ha. And I am wonderful. Clap for me, I clap for you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, I will be your, what is that word? Progenitor? Progenitor. No, maybe. I'll be your tour guide. How about that? I'll guide you through this fantastical shit talking tour. Even visit the wellness clinic, but it's kind of busy there. And you can never see Jesus because there's just so many fucking people. But the sick people need him. So we can just wait for him to start his speaking part of the tour. Yeah. Which takes forever, by the way. But right now, I think right now, um, how to celebrate Passover early, okay? Because terrible shit happens to him on Passover. So he's celebrating the Passover dinner early. Because I think you can do that, actually. Actually. Actual celebrate dead baby day is April 14th. Oh, no. I was going to say Jesus had it on the actual Passover, but I don't think he did because he died on the 17th. And he died on the 17th. So, yeah, maybe he did actually have it on the actual Passover. Wouldn't that be some cool shit? Like Jesus just snuck that in there. But seeing as nobody pays attention to the real day of Passover anyway, nobody would have even noticed that. That it might have actually been on the actual day of Passover that Jesus celebrated Passover with the disciples. Wouldn't that be some cool shit? Hmm. I don't know. But that is like an awesome thing to think about. Jesus is like, take that, bitches. Man. Hold on. So if he celebrated on the 14th with his disciples, he would have been arrested the 15th, in the morning on the 15th. Had some horrible shit done to him on the 16th, and then sacrificed on the 17th, which is pretend Passover. It's pretend celebrate dead baby day. Something like that. Hold on, I want to call my mom. No, because my mom's not even going to believe me either because she never does. Son of a bitch. See, and that is the thing with Christians. If you point something out that they don't believe in, well, back in the day, they would call you a heretic, but I'm gladly a heretic because I would never be like these fake ass people. It's so hard to be pretend. I don't know how these people do it. But I guess if you fake it long enough, you're bound to make it. But then they become all judgy and ugh, and they forget how they work. It's like when bitches get married. Like you think, man, and you think like she ain't changed, so you start saying things, and then she's like, "I never did that. I wasn't a hose bag. I don't eat candy." Like you were just literally eating candy 2 days ago. I don't eat candy. Don't send me this stuff. That is not a thing that happened to me in real life a little while ago. That is not something I'm familiar with. So I can't really speak on it. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, honkity, honk, honk. What does Booker T say? Shucky ducky, quack, quack. I don't even know. I don't even know what's happening. But I do know that we need to get to chapter 14. Like, I really want to call my mom and ask about this Passover thing, but she's not going to go with it because then we're going to end up arguing. And I only argue with my mom on Saturdays. Maybe we should save this for a Saturday conversation. My mom has better memory than me, so I am going to call my mom. Where's my phone? Sugar ducky, quack, quack. There's my phone. Look, Booker T, just so you know, that shit is magical right now. Did you just see that? Like my phone popped up out of nowhere. Sugar ducky, quack, quack. I just, how do I call my mom? Oh, I'm going to call her on Messenger. Okay, I'm going to call my mom. And watch, this will be the one time she doesn't answer. Hey, Mom! I know we can talk about on Saturday. You're on my phone, but we're on a live stream. Well, you're on my phone, but I got to tell you something. Okay. And I can't talk about it right now because I got to do some reading. But remind me on Saturday we need to talk about Celebrate Dead Baby Day. It's Passover. No, no, it's Celebrate Dead Baby Day. Anyway, I know. We got to talk about it on Saturday because I think I figured something out. And Jesus is a smart ass mofo. Anyway, we can't talk about it right now, but remind me on Saturday, we're talking about it. No, not Saturday. I told you, you can't talk about these things. All right. I love you. Bye. Okay. So there, we got my mom. Hi, Curtis. I'm so happy that you're here. We're going to do some anti preaching. I hope you're here for it because I am here for it. And my mom, we're going to talk about what I just thought of on Saturday. Okay. Oh, maybe I should have told her it was Jesus. And wait, I'll remember probably. Anyway, it's the day Jesus celebrated his Passover with his guys. I think it's on actual Celebrate Dead Baby Day. And then he died on the pretend Celebrate Dead Baby Day. So I think what's happening right here is on the actual Passover Exodus. But I can't prove it. I don't know for sure. And I know my mom's going to argue with me about it. I should probably read it. Okay. Anyway, so after 2 days, it was a Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So you celebrate dead babies with flatbread. And the chief scribes sought how they might take him by trickery and put him to death. But they said, not during the feast, lest there be an uproar of the people. And being in Bethany, at the house of Simon the leper. He sat at the table, and a woman came in with an alabaster flask of costly oil of spikenard. Then she broke the flask and poured it on his head. And then Jesus was like, "Do not worry about this chicken shawarma sandwich. I was not eating. I mean, you pour oil on my head, it gets on the bread, it's very bad. But do not worry, I wasn't eating." And but there were some who were indignant among themselves and said, "Why? Why did she waste this? Because could have given this money to the poor." Yes, the poor. Yeah, we could have sold it and given them some, but it is okay. Do not worry. And they criticized her sharply. And Jesus was like, "Who made you my manager? If people want to do stuff, let them do stuff. I told you before. Just because you're my friend doesn't mean you're my manager. My powers do not belong to you. I told you that. So leave her alone. She has done good work for me. You will have the poor always, but you're not going to always have this guy, because I do this guy. And my God watch is still stolen. I don't know how long I have here. You guys are being crazy. Leave this lady alone. She did what she could. She has come beforehand to anoint my body for burial. Because listen, I'm telling you, wherever this gospel is preached in the whole world, what this woman has done will be told as a memorial for her. Although we don't know her name, but we're going to make it up later. Don't worry about it. Aw, that is a beautiful picture, Curtis. I like that. That last one. Well, in that first one, but this last one. And you know, this first, when I first seen, I thought it was a dolphin in the universe. I had to look really close to realize it was Jesus. I thought it was a dolphin. Don't make fun of me. But I seriously thought it was a dolphin everse, like a dolphin in the universe, because I just, in my mind, that's amazing. Okay. Then Judas Iscariot, one of the 12, went to the chief priests to betray him. And when they had heard it, they were glad and promised to give him money. So he sought how he might betray him. And it was barely uh uh what was it? Not hard at all. Barely an inconvenience. That's pitch meeting. The guy's name is Ryan George, and he runs a channel called Pitch Meeting. And I really recommend it because it's the funniest shit ever. Dustin always watches that for me before we go to bed, so we have something funny to laugh at, because it's better to laugh than cry. Yeah. So I watch Pitch Meeting every night after I do these live streams before bed. So if you want to feel like you're connecting with me on a different plane, watch Pitch Meeting and Space Ice, because he's always making fun of Steven Seagal. He's like Steven Seagal's mega blockbuster hit movie. It's hilarious. It's the funniest shit I've ever seen because I like Steven Seagal, but this, and he also does Chuck Norris and Nicolas Cage. He's like Nicolas fucking Cage, Chuck fucking Norris. Anyway, I don't even know why I went into that, but those are two things that I watch. If you feel like, you know what, I need to watch something. And I don't know if my microphone's working. Something happened. Okay. Now, on the first day of Celebrate Dead Baby Day, when they killed the Passover lamb, his disciples said to him, Where, where do you want to go and prepare that you may eat the Passover? Okay, never mind. I need to call my mom. Okay, so where do you want to eat the Passover? Okay. Hey, Mom, never mind about the Passover thing. I was highly mistaken. But I'm in the middle of the story I wanted to tell you. Never mind about the Passover thing because I was totally wrong. Okay, I love you. Bye. You gotta hang. Okay. So, so where do you want to eat? And he sent two of his disciples and said, Okay, go into the city. There'll be a guy there. So follow him wherever he goes and say to the master, Jesus, celebrate Dead Baby Day. And the guy will be like, up there. Right. So his disciples went out and found him and did that as Jesus. And then as they ate, Jesus said, Listen, one of you is going to betray me. Okay. And they began to be sorrowful and say to him, Was it me? You would know if it was you, motherfucker. And then he said, It is one of the 12 who dips with me in this dish. The Son of Man indeed goes just as it is written. But woe to the man who betrays him. It would be better for him to be catapulted into a fish tank with pedophiles, into a shark tank with pedophiles. And as they were eating, Jesus took bread, blessed and broke it, and gave it to them and said, This is my body, eat me. And then he took a cup and, did the wine thing and was like, This is my blood, drink it. Yeah, drink of this cup because words. No, I'm just kidding. That's not what Jesus said. He said, This is my body. This is my blood. I don't remember the rest of the words to this lovely song, but I know those words. Oh, and it's something about all the day long. Then he took the cup and had gave it to them, and they all drank it. And then he said, This is blood of the new covenant, which is shed for many. I say to you, I will no longer drink fruit of the vine until the day I drink it new with you in the kingdom of God. And the KOG to be so great, we're going to get so smashed. Jesus didn't say they were going to get smashed, but you can infer that. Jesus, like, I'm not drinking this again until we have good time. Okay. And when they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. Then Jesus said, all of you will be made to stumble because of me this night. For it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered. But after I have been raised, I will go before you to Galilee. Oh, is that a raid? Sorry, I wasn't watching my pill chat. Oh, there is a raid. Thank you. Welcome, people of the madness. I appreciate you for coming. Thank you. I need to start rating people. I forget to rate people. I need to start doing that more because it's kind of disrespectful, isn't it? I should start rating people more. Then Jesus said, oh, yeah, I will strike the shepherd and I'll go to Galilee. And Peter, fucking Peter, shut up, Peter. Even if all are made to stumble, I will not be. And Jesus said, shut up, Peter. You're going to betray me more than any of them. And you're going to do it 3 times, coward bitch. Jesus didn't say that. Jesus just said, you're going to betray me more than any of them. It'll be you that betrays me the most. They'll be cowards, but you'll be a betrayer, just like Judas. But nobody's going to see it that way because, heaven forbid, they tell the truth. Christians lie a lot more than they tell the truth. But he spoke more vehemently. And Peter's like, if I have to die with you, I will not deny you. I hate this. I hate this. Then they came to a place which was named Gerber Baby Food. And he said to his disciples, sit here while I pray. And he took Peter and the sons of thunder with him. And he began to be troubled and deeply distressed. And then he said, listen, this is bad. Just wait here for me. I need to go pray. So then Jesus goes and prays, and he's like, Dad, I've made friends down here, and they are really bad at life. And I see what you mean about they need a shepherd. I could shepherd them probably way better than they can shepherd themselves. Because I mean, you've seen the future. You know what they do. They do it all very, very wrong. But you just need to experience that, then so be it, I suppose. And then he came and found them sleeping and said to Peter, why are you sleeping? Could not watch 1 hour? Watch and pray, lest you enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. Again, he went away and prayed and spoke the same words, And when he returned, he found them sleeping. In their defense, they did just eat dinner and it is dark. Then he came the third time and said, are you still sleeping and resting? It is enough. The hour, behold, the Son of Man is being betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise and let us be going. Savior is at hand. And immediately, while he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, had a great multitude, swords, clubs, all of that, from the chief priests and the scribes, the elders. Now his betrayer had given them a thing, saying, whoever I kiss, he is the one. Seize him and lead him away safely. As soon as he had come, immediately went to him and said, Rabbi, and kissed him, the hands on him, and took him. And one of those who stood by drew his sword and struck the servant of the high and cut off his ear. People say this is Peter, but Jesus would have never let them have a sword because they didn't need them at that time. So I don't even know why Peter would have a sword, because that's not a thing that they would carry with Jesus. So it definitely wasn't Peter. Yeah, okay. And one of those who stood by drew his sword and struck the servant of the high priest. So it definitely wasn't Peter. It was someone who stood by, a nameless man. Then they all forsook him and fled. Now a certain young man followed him, having a linen cloth thrown around his naked body. And the young men lay hold of him, and he left a linen fled from them naked. So why do they say this was on Jesus' face? Because it was definitely on some dude's bullsack, not Jesus' face. But I don't know. I do know because it says it right here. Whoever was wearing that fled, and Jesus did not flee. And then Jesus said, have you come out as against a robber with swords and clubs? Listen, is this really necessary? You guys know me. You know me very well. What is happening? But I guess the scriptures must be fulfilled. And they all forsook him and fled. Oh, never mind. They led Jesus away to the high priest, and with them were assembled all of them. But Peter followed at a distance, right into the courtyard of the high priest, and he sat with the servants and warmed himself at the fire. Now, the chief priest, hold on. But Peter. Now the chief priests and all the council sought testimony against Jesus to put him to death, but they found none. For many bore false witness against him, but their testimonies did not agree. Then some rose up and bore witness against him, saying, listen, he said he was going to destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days. But then their testimony, but not even did their testimony agree. And the high priest stood up in the midst and asked Jesus, so you got nothing to say? Jesus was like, drink a fifth, plead a fifth. And then he was like, are you a Christ, the son of the Blessed One? And Jesus is like, y'all said that. I didn't say that, but y'all said that. But you will. Oh, what? When did Jesus say this? Because he pled the fifth and drank a fifth last time. But this time, Jesus said, I am. And you will see the Son of Man coming on cloud dolphin. Then the high priest got naked and said, we don't need anything else. We could just delete him from his father's YouTube. And they all condemned him to deserving of death. Then some began to spit on him, blindfold him, to beat him, and would be like, hey, prophecy, who did this? Now, as Peter was below in the courtyard, one of the servants was like, I have a poster of you. You're on the shit talking tour. And Peter's like, no, I'm not. And then the rooster crowed, and another servant girl came to him. I have your poster. You're a part of the tour. And he's like, no, I'm not. And a little later, those who stood by said to Peter, no, you're definitely a part of that guy. I can hear it in your voice. And Peter's like, no, I'm not. I do not know this guy. And the rooster crowed again. Then Peter called to mind what Jesus had said to him. Yep, you're going to betray me. And when he thought about it, he wept. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, that's the end of chapter 14. So, Curtis, what do you think about that? I mean, I'm sure you have thoughts about it, maybe. Oh, it's just you. Well, it's okay if it's just you. I'm not worried about it. Are you still here? Is Curtis still here? What do you guys think about it? Like, well, actually, you might not think anything about it because I keep calling my mom. But, like, the whole thing, Jesus tells him they're all going to betray him. Well, I guess running away scared is not exactly betrayal. But Peter, that's definitely betrayal. That's doing that shit right to his face. What do you guys think about it? Okay, so 17, 18. Okay, this is going to happen on the 18th, chapter 15. The chief priest held a consultation with the chief or with the elders, scribes, everybody. And they bound Jesus and led him away and delivered him to Pilate. Then Pilate asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" And Jesus was like, "You said it." And the chief priests accused him of many things, but he answered nothing. And then Pilate was like, "Hey, you're not even going to stick up for yourself?" And Jesus, at this time, he was like, "Plead the fifth, drink a fifth." Now, at the feast, what? Wait a minute. Okay. Now, on the first day of unleavened bread, when they killed the Passover lamb, that's on the 17th, his disciples, okay, but then over here, this is on a feast day. Huh, okay, whatever. Now, at the feast, he was accustomed to releasing one prisoner to them, whomever they requested. Now, there was one named Barbarous who chained with the who was chained with his fellow rebels. They had committed murder in the rebellion. Then the multitude, crying aloud, began to ask him to do just as he has always done for them. But Pilate said, "Do you want me to release to you King of the Jews?" Because he knew they were jealous. But the chief priests stirred up the crowd, so rather release Barabbas to them. And then they were like, "What do you want me to do with Jesus?" And they cried out again, "Crucify him." Then Pilate said, "Yeah, but he didn't do anything." But they cried out all the more, "Crucify him." So Pilate, wanting to gratify the crowd, released Barabbas and delivered Jesus after he had scourged him to be crucified. Pilate could have saved Jesus. He could have switched him out, anything. When the soldiers led him away into the hall called Praetorium, and they called together the whole garrison, and they played Barbie Girl with Jesus. I wonder if they gave him fellatio also. Give him a good time. And they began to salute him and say, "Hail, King." Then they struck him on his head with a reed, spat on him, bowing the knee, they worshipped him good. Then they had mocked him. They played Barbie Girl with him again and led him to be crucified. Then they compelled a certain man, Simon, a Kyrenian. He was a disciple. As he was coming out of the country and passing by to bear his cross, and they brought him to the place of the skull. Then they gave him wine mingled with myrrh to drink, but he did not take it. And when they crucified him, they divided his garments, casting lots for them. Now it was the third hour, and they crucified him. And in the description, his accusation was King of Das Juden. With him, they also crucified two robbers, one on his right and one on his left. So the scripture is fulfilled that he was numbered with the transgressors. Um, and those who passed by blasphemed him, wagging their heads and saying, "You destroy the temple in 3 days and rebuild it. Yeah. Save yourself and come down from that cross." That's the Tool song. Likewise, the chief priests also mocking them among themselves with the scribe. He saved others but cannot save himself. They're acknowledging all of everything Jesus did while they're making fun of him. It's funny because it's true. So descend now from the cross that we may see and believe. You're supposed to already believe because you're literally a priest, but okay. Even those who were crucified with him reviled him. Now, when the sixth hour had come, there was darkness over the whole land until the ninth hour, so 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And in the ninth hour, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, saying, "Eloi, Eloi, ama bactani." No, lama sabachthani, which is translated to a System of a Down song. Some of those who stood by when they heard that said, "Look, he is calling for Elijah, but Elijah's not God." Then some ran and filled a sponge of sour wine and put it on a reed and offered to him to drink, saying, "Let him alone. Let's see if Elijah will save him." Uh, And Jesus cried out with a loud voice and breathed his last. Then the veil of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. So when the centurion who stood opposite saw that, he cried out like this and breathed his last and said, "Truly, this man was the Son of God." There were also women looking from afar, among whom were Mary Magdalene, Mary, the mother of James the Less, and Joseph, and Salome, who followed him and ministered to him when he was in Galilee, and many other women who came up with him to Jewland. Now, uh, when the evening had come, because it was the preparation day, that is the day before the Sabbath, Joseph of Arimathea, a prominent council member who himself was waiting for the kingdom of God, Coming and taking courage, went in to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. And Pilate marveled that he was already dead. And summoning the centurion, asked him if he was dead for some time. So when he found out from the centurion, he granted the body to Joseph. Then he bought fine linen, took him down, and wrapped him in the linen, and laid him in a tomb which had been hewn out of the rock, and rolled stone against the door of the tomb. And Mary, Magdalene, and the mother of Joseph observed where he was laid. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so what do you guys think about that? Okay, I'm going to roll a cigarette. And then we're going to go into the last chapter. We're going to finish this book. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. 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 Now, when the Sabbath was past, Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James and Salome, brought spices that they might come and anoint him. Okay, so this is on 420 because Jesus died on 418 at 9 at night. And Sabbath was the 19th, and Jesus rose on 420. So that day should be Easter, not Passover. Or what it's floating Sundays, right? Something like that. But anyway, celebrate Naked Zombie Jesus Day is 420. They're going to anoint him very early in the morning on the first day of the week. They came to the tomb when the sun had risen, and they said among themselves, "Who will roll away the stone from the door of the tomb?" But when they looked up, they saw that the stone had been rolled away, for it was very large. And entering the tomb, they saw a young man clothed in white robe sitting on the right side. And they were alarmed. But he said, "Don't be alarmed. I know you want Jesus. He has risen. He is not here. See the place where they laid him. But go tell his disciples and Peter." Okay, so Peter's not a disciple anymore. See what I'm saying? "That he is going before you to Galilee. There you will see him, as he has said to you." So they went quickly and fled from the tomb, for they trembled and were amazed, and they said nothing to anyone, for they were afraid. Now, when he rose early on the first day of the week, he appeared first to Mary Magdalene, whom he had cast 7 demons. Okay. She went and told those who had been with him as they mourned and wept. And when they heard that he was alive and had been seen by her, they did not believe. Because Jesus would talk to a girl. See, that's bullshit mentality right there. That's absolute crazy mentality. After that, he appeared in another form to two of them as they walked into the country. And they went and told it to the rest, but they did not believe them either because they're not the sons of thunder. That's why Jesus started going to less of them first. Yeah. Later, he appeared to the 11 as they sat at the table, and he rebuked their unbelief and hardness of heart because they did not believe those who had seen him after he had risen. And he said, "Go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. He who believes and is baptized will be saved, but he who does not believe will be condemned. And these signs will follow those who believe. In my name, they will cast out demons. They will speak with new tongues. They will wake, they will take up serpents. And if they drink anything deadly, it will but by no means hurt them. They will lay hands on the sick and they will recover." So then, after the Lord had spoken to them, he was received to heaven and sat down at the right hand of God. And they went out and preached everywhere. No, they didn't. Actually, they wanted to stay right where they were. They didn't go anywhere and preach anything. They're full of shit. And you know they're full of shit about this because of Acts. In Acts, they didn't do a fucking thing. They said, "Let them come to us." As soon as Jesus died, these motherfuckers sat down. And then they're like, "We're so important because, well, we're 12." Okay. So they preached everywhere. The Lord working with them and confirming the word through the accompanying signs. Amen. Mm. They should have never wrote Acts if this was supposed to be true. But anyway, that's the end of that book, I suppose. Well, I don't know. Fred and Miss Muddy aren't here, so I don't know. I guess I have time to start a new book. I Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Okay, I guess I have time to finish the last two books of the story of Jesus. Yeah, because actually, John needs a lot of anti preaching. So, yeah, we'll read. We'll read the last two books of Jesus. Although I don't want to keep reading Jesus' demise. I don't. I have so much fun in the Old Testament. I have no business trying to read the New Testament. But, if nobody's going to read it right, who's going to read it right? If I don't read it right, right? Who's going to do it if I don't do it? Nobody's done it. So I'm going to fucking do it. I don't care. And hopefully more people will get on the train about telling the truth about the New Testament. or at least telling the truth about the story of Jesus, because people are so brainwashed by this Paul bullshit. They refuse to see Jesus because he's not Paul. And it's a crazy thing. I don't know. But anyway, I guess we're all done here for the most part. So I guess I'm going to start a raid. We'll go to Mr. Bill Donahue because he takes notes and all that shit, knows the history of things. I don't really believe any of that shit matters, but people have to spread the knowledge they accumulated for no real reason, just to have that, knowledge and stuff. And if I want people to support my channel, start supporting their channel, whether it's my thing or not. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. We're going to go to Mr. Bill Donahue. So I love y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for coming. I appreciate it.